Hello, everyone, and welcome to Humanities 102. This short video, at least I'll try to make it short, is about drawing your attention to some parts of the syllabus. Okay, this document that's on the page right here, you'll find this in Module 1 and the Module 0, I'm sorry, of our class. This is essentially like the contract of the course. This is the basic cornerstone of the entire course. It describes exactly what the course is. So it has both course descriptions and policies, which are all the kind of rules that run the class, as well as a syllabus. And the syllabus is like the calendar of events. So I want to talk you through a little bit. I can't tell you enough that you should read and understand this policy, these pages, as best you can to prepare for the whole course. In the interim, I want to hit some highlights so you can see what I think is important about it. All right, so first of all, I want you to notice that my email is right here, that you can email me through Campus. And also, I have office hours on Zoom Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 11 to 1. So I'll just be on Zoom, and you can always get on Zoom to speak with me. The course says here, it says this is an online course, right? And so therefore, it says computer literacy is assumed. That rule's always been for people who've chosen to take online courses. We're in a situation now we are not choosing it. We're required to be on there. But it does mean, as an online class, that I am not an expert in all things technological. So if you have certain technological problems, I may not be the person to answer it, but you can always contact IT support at CCP for some help on that. And others will be around to help as well. But the main thing to understand as an online class is that there's no moment you have to be in class, like a regular class. You have a classroom, you have to be there at like 9:05, nothing like that. What I have are a set of deadlines that happen every week. And so you will need to plan accordingly to get that work done so that you meet those deadlines. And there's a rhythm to them. So they're almost the same every single week. Thanksgiving throws us off a little bit. The first week is a little off, but otherwise every week is the same. So your job as an online student is to plan your day so you always get the work done ahead of time. So you never don't get it done because you missed a deadline. This will be very important, right? So for instance, every deadline is 11:59 p.m. So it's a minute before midnight of the day it's due. So if something's due Wednesday, it's due a minute before midnight on Wednesday, always, okay? All right, so this section here is, this is what the goal of the class is, what the college offers you from the class. So you can take a look at that yourself. What we're gonna think about is central questions. These are the main questions that we're gonna talk about in the course. So what does it mean exactly to say that one is a human being? What is that? Some people, it means having a soul. For other people, it means being a result of evolution. Very different. Many, many ideas about that, right? Another question is, how should we live our lives? The moral question of them all. What's the right life? What is the good life? And of course, the final question the class tries to address is, what is the universe and how do we fit into it? Like, is the universe just dead matter and we're nothing? Or is the universe a gift from God and we are the central importance to it? Or is it some other thing? What is the universe exactly? So these are sorts of questions that our readings will address either directly or indirectly. Okay, so there are course requirements, things you're going to do in every class. What you've got is readings. Every week there are readings. Some of them are short, some of them are long. So for instance, you're reading the novel Frankenstein. That is long and it takes us 2 weeks, but you'll have a lot of reading. So you'll have like 78 pages in 1 week. So you want to plan for that when it comes up, right? You're also reading something from this book called They Say, I Say, which we'll talk about. I talk about that in a different video. Every reading is followed by a quiz. Okay, so these quizzes will be multiple choice about that reading. Then you always have some writing to do. Two kinds of writing. You'll have an analytic response, an academic analytic response. That's a major part. You'll get to choose a question and you'll write a response to that. I'm actually looking for about 350 words. That's a little longer there. I have to change those numbers, but you'll see when you get to the assignment. And then there's these discussion forums. Okay, discussion forums are more a conversation. They're a lot more like what you do in a classroom when people are talking about a reading in class. So the academic is like a short essay. This is more like a class discussion. Those are the two kinds of writing you're going to do. All right. And then there's a final paper, which you'll have to see later when you see the sum. You have a final paper you have to do. It's about 4 pages long. All right. Now, what I want to talk about for a moment now is like what counts as quality work. All right. So generally, it's academic writing. So there are certain rules that apply to make that writing good. First of all, whatever you write stays on topic. Right? You're not writing about any old thing. You're like staying really focused. Everybody can see, oh yeah, this person's writing about what we're all talking about. It's analytical objective and complete. And you might want to ask yourself, well, what is analysis? What is analytical? To analyze is to take something and to break it down in its parts, and then to show how the parts relate. So, like if you analyzed a bicycle, you'd show all the parts of a bike, how they independently work, and then how all the parts fit together. So that's what you do with a poem, right? You analyze a poem, you look at all the parts, and you show the parts fit together, make the poem work as a whole. That's analysis, and that's what we'll be doing for all the texts that we talk about. Okay? So that's what it means to be analytical. What I mean by quality of writing, show some quality of writing, isn't just grammar. Of course, you have to have good grammar. Of course, that's not even worth talking about. But it also means looking at the style of writing you'll see in the book They Say, I Say, which means you always start with what someone else says, and then you say your thing. So you don't just say what you think. You say, well, the writer says X, Y, Z, and my response to X, Y, Z is A, B, C, right? You'll see that in They Say, I Say. That's very important, right? The other thing is you have to develop an idea. Developing an idea means building it up. Like, for instance, when I talk about development, I tell people, what's the difference between chili and chicken broth? Chicken broth's like water with chicken flavor. Chili's full of stuff. It's got lots of different food. It's thick. It's delicious. Well-developed ideas are like chili. Poorly developed ideas are like chicken broth. They're just too thin. So you want to make sure you thicken your ideas up, build them up. And that usually takes some length, okay? And then finally, you want to really be engaged with the subject that you're writing about. Now, there are things you can do wrong in writing in quality work online, right? One is you just write about what you feel. That just doesn't matter, how you feel. This reading makes me sad is not a really good way to talk about a piece of writing. It also doesn't matter if you like or dislike a reading, like to write an article about or an essay about, like, oh, I really didn't like this piece. It doesn't matter. That's not as important as other stuff. Sometimes students summarize without any purpose. They just tell the story again, and that's the whole piece of writing. That never works either. Okay, you'll have questions to answer, so you have to make sure you answer the question, right? And of course, sometimes writing goes wrong when I can't understand what you're writing. And that happens too sometimes, right? And then in the forums, when you're writing with your fellow students, a lot of times students will just compliment each other. Oh, I really like what you said. It doesn't really matter. You can do that. But after you do that, what do you have to say? You have to say more. You follow me? So these are things you want to avoid, right? And I'm stressing this because in an online class like us, it really is all about writing. What you're doing is writing. So it's the rules of writing apply, including quality writing, okay? Now, there's some course management. This is stuff about how we manage the class. Now, we're still in a class, even though it's online. So for instance, we don't have an attendance policy. You don't have to be online at the same time all the time. But I expect to see you online regularly doing all your work. So I'll know you're on because your work shows up regularly. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. You have to have your work turned in, right? I don't really take work that's late. Don't email it to me if you miss a deadline, because when the deadline passes, an assignment locks. You can't put it in there anymore. If it's locked, it's over. All right, so just don't miss the deadline. That's the main grade, okay? Don't send me anything that means I don't really take late work. That's the main thing. If there's some reason you have to turn something in late and you have a special reason, email me and ask me ahead of time, and then we'll talk about it, all right? All right, now I want to talk about this problem. This is a serious issue here. I don't want you to use any outside sources. I don't want you to go to the internet, and I don't want you to find any essays online, and I don't want you to look at what Wikipedia says about Frankenstein or any of that stuff. What I'm really looking for is you doing your own thinking. That is the most important thing, your own thinking and your own writing. So don't do online research to do this class, because I see that as a form of cheating if you do that. So if I find that you've got something from Wikipedia in your text, that's going to be a kind of plagiarism for us. So you don't want to do any of that stuff. Just read it, think about it, answer the questions the best of you can in your own mind from what you're learning from the class and from your fellow students. Because plagiarism is very serious, right? It won't be tolerated. And you want to avoid doing that at all costs. All right? Finally, there's more things here you really ought to read yourself, but here's the way the class is weighted. 40% of your grade is going to be the analytic responses, 20% discussion forums, 20% quizzes, and 20% for your paper, your final paper. And then on the bottom, here's the calendar, everything you're reading. Every week, there's a reading or two little readings, a quiz, analytic discussion, an analytic forum, essay, and a discussion forum, every single one of these, all right? So that's the syllabus. Study this, get ready, and let's enjoy the class together. Thanks.